In the last lecture, we demonstrated how to return some model data back to our view. In this lecture, we're going to return a list of items associated with the mydata.cs file in our models folder. So right here, I'm going to go to my first view iActionResult method right here, and I'm going to comment this out. And once I comment this out, I'm going to create a list of data and return an IEnumerable type back to our view associated in our home folder. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to type var model equals new list, and then associated with the generic collection right here, I'm going to put the type associated in my generic right here. So I'm going to put my data, and then what I'm going to associate here and what I'm going to associate inside of here is a different set of objects associated with my data. So let's come in here and let's put new my data, and inside of here let's create a collection of data. So let's say my ID equals 1, my value equals first. Now let's create a second item here. We're going to say my ID equals 2, my value equals second. And there we go. Now we're going to pass that list associated right here into our view. And then this is going to be returned once we loop through the data associated with the generic collection of my data. So now let's go to my first view right here. This is not going to work anymore because we're not passing a single instance of data. Now we're passing an IEnumerable type. Let's come up here and let's type IEnumerable. And then let's close that out right there. We can associate a list of items in our model data. So then we want to come down here, and what we want to type is a for each statement to loop through the data items. So we're going to say at for each tab. And so we're saying and looping through each item. So in this case, we want this to be model because we want to associate the specific model data in our home controller. So let's come over here and let's copy this paragraph tag. Let's put it in here, and instead we're going to associate with our var type right here of item, and then this should loop through each one of our items inside right here. To sum up what we did here, we went to our home controller, we've associated on first view, the iActionResult first view, a list of model data. We've created a generic list right here, and then we've put 2 items inside of that list associated with my ID and my value. And then we went to our first view and we're looping through that data. So we have to put an IEnumerable type. And this is a simple iterator of a collection of a specific type. And in this case, our specific type is coming from our course project.models.mydata.cs file. And then we're doing a for each statement, which is setting a var type item into the model. And then we're setting the value of my ID and my value. So now let's go ahead and let's run this. Let's give that a second while it loads. And what results are we expecting is ID 1 and 2. So let's go over here and let's put home/first view. And look what we get. We get the ID of 1 and first, the ID of 2 and second, and that's associated right here in our iActionResult first view. And it's pulling this model data, associated that, and passing it to the view. And inside of the view, we're looping through each one of those items. So it's going to do the for each loop, and then it's going to pass the my ID first, which is here, and then it's going to go to the my value, which is next. Once it goes over the first collection item, then it's going to go to the second one, which is 2, and then second, and that's the data associated right here in my first view method on my home controller. So this is how we emit a list in MVC, passing the data from your controller to your view. I want to thank you for joining me in this lecture. Have a nice day.